Well, he's on the show after us now, First Things First, which started in the mornings. We've moved it after our show. It's a riot. Funny, smart guys. I could not be happier for him. He's been an NBA guy forever. Friend for a long time. Chris Broussard, co-host First Things First, joining us. So there's a lot of stuff to unpack here. I want to start with this. It's pretty obvious based on his Boston, Brooklyn, and the early Cleveland stuff pre-LeBron that Kyrie is not a guy you can build around. Doesn't mean he's not talented, but D-Wade, LeBron, Giannis, Steph, there are personalities you feel like you can build around. But here's my question with Kyrie. It's obvious you can't build around him. But do you even want him on the team? Do you believe the Nets privately have said, listen, we're going to keep KD and we're stuck with Simmons' contract? I think they move off Kyrie. That is my guess. What do you think we're going to see? Do you think he's going to last the year there?
Well, it all depends on how he handles this situation, Colin. And look, last night was the first time I'd really seen his off-the-court issues affect his game. You know, he's full of off-the-court issues, right? But he's always been able to play well. First trip back to Boston as a Net, he scores, I think, 37 points.
Yeah.
First trip back to Cleveland, he goes 22 points, 10 assists. Like, he's always been, even a couple nights ago against Indiana, when you had the guys with the fight anti-Semitism shirts courtside,
yeah,
he goes for 28 points. Last night, though, I don't know if the weight of this is really starting to get to him, but he looked stressed, and it looked like the strain of all this is really wearing on him and affected his game.
Yeah.
And hopefully, Colin, that will lead him to do the right thing. You hope that he has that aha moment and comes out and apologizes for the anti-Semitic stuff that was in the book and the documentary that he promoted. And hopefully they can move on. But if he handles it the wrong way, then there's no telling what they'll do. But yeah, he's certainly been more trouble than he's worth. He's missed a lot of games because of injury or his anti-vax stance. And you just haven't. What's sad, Colin, is this super team of Durant, Kyrie, and let's bring in James Harden. They never really got a chance to see if it could work because of injuries or the anti-vax stance by Kyrie.
I think the nation's tiring of it. So I've watched. I try to watch. I've said this before. I try to watch when I work out at night. I'll turn it on in my little room and I'll watch a half of an NBA game. So I've seen the Bucks play twice for a half. They look really good. Warriors are struggling. It's early. I don't want to make too much of it. An interesting team, though, the other day, it really bothered me, is that Kawhi Leonard's great, but he's missed like 5 of their 7 games. And I wonder privately, they thought they were going to build around him. He may just be a guy you can have on the team that you can't build around. Do you think privately they are, if not furious, exhausted with Kawhi Leonard?
They wouldn't be human, Colin, if they're not. I mean, I'm sorry. They have to be furious, okay? And here's the question, because I've talked to some people about this around the league, and I'm told that initially, I'm talking maybe a week or so ago, they felt like, okay, he's got tendinitis in the knee. But now that he hasn't played since then, and it seemed their fear is that it's actually worse. Okay, so I don't know if I don't want to say he re-injured it, but it just hasn't, maybe it hasn't healed to the point where it should. And remember, this is an 8 to 12 month recovery for most players. That's on average. Kawhi's 15 months away from his surgery and still is having problems. Now, here's the question for Clippers fans and the people in the organization. Is this really a knee that's banged up and damaged to the point where he can't be a full-time player right now, if not forever going forward? Or is it mental? Because people will tell you that since Kawhi Leonard entered the NBA, talking about when he was in San Antonio before he was a star, he was like the type of guy that I'm not playing unless I'm 110%.
Yeah.
He wouldn't go run with guys unless he's 110%. The 1 year he did, Colin, not surprisingly, was Toronto contract year. Remember, he played through that knee, gets the big contract, and now he's been, load managing big time ever since. So I'm not sure if it's mental or if the knee is really bothering him, but either way, it's a problem for the Clippers, and they don't look like they're going to be anything near what people have expected them to be.
So I'm going to throw something out there. There's no rumor. I'm going to throw it out. So J-Mac and I, you're a good arguer, got into this earlier, is that there's no perfect player. And Kyrie Irving can still produce. He's an elite scorer. Right. I don't want him. I'm not building my franchise around him. But I've seen him with LeBron, and he's been special. LeBron leads the Lakers. Westbrook is now coming off the bench. Cross your fingers it works. But they're both damaged goods. And I said this. I said I could see where LeBron's like, I'll give him a second shot. He can hit shots. And then I could see them saying, we want out of the Kyrie business with this latest stuff. We'll take Westbrook, sit him. I know it's crazy. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But I want to ask you a question, a theoretical question, because J-Mac and I totally disagree on this, is that at least with Kyrie, it's a shooter's league. He's a great shooter. I think he should apologize. I think the league should have suspended him for his stuff. I'm not, whatever. But if you had is that a deal if you were the Lakers that you would consider? They both have baggage. One is right. Would you consider that?
Well, first, let me talk about it from the Nets' perspective. I don't think they would. I think they'd rather just let Kyrie go.
Yes.
Just let him go than bring in Westbrook.
Okay.
And if he doesn't handle this the right way, Colin, maybe that happens. Well, I'm not sure. But I don't think they consider bringing in Westbrook. The Lakers, if Kyrie handles it the right way, apologizes, and they can move on, I definitely feel like LeBron would want to do that. And if I'm the Lakers, I'd much rather have Kyrie Irving than Russell Westbrook. It's not even close. Because as you say, Kyrie is a great player. He's a great shooter. He can run the offense better than Westbrook. You wouldn't have half of the issues you have with Russ if you had Kyrie. Okay. He doesn't defend like Russ. Not that Russ is a great defender, but yeah, to answer your question, no doubt I'd rather have Kyrie. We know they wanted him this summer.
Right.
It's not like he was baggage-free this summer.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
He's always got, this is maybe the worst, but he's always had something around him, and LeBron clearly wanted him back.
Okay, in golf, when a guy, they call him like, what's the term in golf? Yips, when you can't, you're struggling to hit it.
The yips.
Yeah, and we've seen in baseball, Steve Sachs, I think at one point had a problem throwing to first.
Chuck Knobloch.
Yes. And so Ben Simmons is interesting. There was a player that got drafted years ago, I think out of Iowa State, could be wrong, Royce White, a fear of flying, and just couldn't make it. There was Markelle Fultz, couldn't shoot. Remember that? Like, he literally couldn't shoot. I look at Ben Simmons, and I think to myself, he's broken. I've seen guys like this, Chris, sometimes you can't fix it. I'm wondering if we're getting there with Ben Simmons. What do you think?
That's the fear. And look, now it's at a point where you just hope he can get to be Philadelphia Ben. Right? Forget, Philadelphia plus add a little jump shot and he's great. No. Now you're just hoping for that guy in Philadelphia who gave you 16, 8, and 8 and never shot a jumper.
Right.
All right. And the Nets, he's 30% of that, Colin. And yeah, that's the fear. Because they don't have a shot and they got a lot of talent. Yeah. They don't have a shot if Ben Simmons does not become close to what he was in Philadelphia. Look, I've looked at him in the press conferences. You see him on the court. You see him on the bench. His body language seems fine. Yeah. He seems like he's comfortable. He seems like he's confident. But when he gets on the court, he is afraid to shoot. And the mental issues he had this past year or so, they've always been there. Because his refusal to shoot in Philadelphia was a mental issue. And then it just got worse and worse. And now he's made some progress, but he still won't take jump shots.
Right.
Yeah, it would, Colin, this would be, I can't think of, now maybe it happened to a player in the past, but guys weren't as open and speaking about their mental issues and health as they are now. But it's hard to think about a guy that was a star, made some all-star teams, and just not because of a physical injury, not because he just was never as good as we expected, but because of getting in his own head, he just fell off and became half the player he was. So it's sad when you think about it, but hopefully we won't get to that point.
All right, Chris Broussard, first things first, right after our show in about 25 minutes, 30 minutes. It's great seeing you, buddy. Congrats on all your success.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.